Go ahead. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजाः पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। Welcome. I'm so happy to see all of you. Honestly, I've been missing your company. Waiting eagerly to when we will have Ramayana class again. By your inspiration, we were able to, I shouldn't say complete, we were able to go through Sundara Kanda. Because how can anyone complete Sundara Kanda? There is so much that we missed. There is so much yet to be discovered, but it only be discovered by the grace of Sri Hanumanji and Sita and Ramachandra. So up until that time, we're just skimming the surface. But without your encouragement and participation, it would not have been possible. So I am very grateful to all of you. We are entering Yuddha Kanda. It's titled Yuddha Kanda because most of it is war, or the highlight is war. However, not all of it is war. There's preparation for the war. And before that, there is something very, very sweet. And after the war, in Yuddha Kanda itself, Sri Ramachandra returns back to Ayodhya and becomes crowned as the king of Ayodhya. So after Yuddha Kanda, there are some amazing pastimes. Some will break our heart, where Sita Devi walks through fire. The conversation there, the exchanges there is very heartbreaking. It might even make us think, how can Ramachandra be like that? There is the journey back. There's a conversation with Bharata. There is a meeting with Bharadwaja Muni before that. And ultimately, that chapter of Ramachandra's Abhisheka, we call it Pattabhisheka, is such a fascinating chapter. So there's a lot in Yuddha Kanda. We'll have to see how they inspire us to go through the chapters where there are fighting going on. I don't have the capacity to describe all the number of arrows and how it was, but we'll go through the storyline and try to keep it exciting, especially the way our heroes are fighting the Rakshasas. But let's get back to the present. We're all gathered as audience. We are eagerly looking at Sri Ramachandra. Lakshmana and Hanumanji, Sugriva, and all of the Vanar Sena army. Consider that we are also part of that little tiny, uh, both in stature, in strength, capacity, and realization, very tiny, sitting there, observing what's happening. And Valmiki begins Yuddha Kanda first chapter with this verse. Shrutva Anumato Vakyam Yatavad Abhibhashitam Ramaha Priti Samyukto Vakyam Uttaram Abravit. So Hanuman spoke the last verse of Sundara Kanda, which is considered a very, very important verse. He said, Tato Maya Vagbhir Adina Bhashini Shivabhirishtabhir Abhiprasadita Uvaha Shantim Mama Maithilatmaja Tavapi Shokena Tathati Pidita. Tatha Atipidita, Sita, who's completely tormented, Atishokena, that she was in severe distresses. My words, when I spoke to her, Vagbhir Adina Bhashita, and I spoke in such a way that she came from being helpless to having hope. Shivabhir Abhishta. So my words were Shiva, auspicious, Abhishta, that which give hope and something to look forward to. Abhiprasadita, Tavapi Shokena, Shantim. She became peaceful. What does Ramachandra need more than this? That Sita Devi became pacified. That the burning of separation that both of them are experiencing, at least one of them got some peace. And the love between Ramachandra and Sita Devi is so intense that Ramachandra is not thinking my peace is more important. Hearing that Sita Devi has become peaceful, Shantim, Uvaha Shantim Mama Maithilatvaja, that was important for Ramachandra. And how do we know? Because in this verse of Yuddha Kanda, Valmiki is telling us, Ramaha Priti Samyuktaha. Yuktaha means became connected with or was experiencing. But not just Yukta, Samyuktaha. Completely, joyfully rejoiced. Priti Samyukta. And naturally, he has to respond. But the interesting thing is, Ramachandra doesn't speak to Hanuman. The greatest appreciation Sri Ramachandra has is that he will not express it to Hanuman directly. Hanuman is standing right there, but he's addressing the entire crowd. Although looking perhaps at Sugriva, but he's addressing the entire monkey clan. Now that is something, these are all ways of showing or for us to understand what kind of appreciation Ramachandra has for Hanuman. Kritam Hanumata Karyam Sumahadru Api Durlabham. Sumahad Bhuvi Durlabham. Sorry, Sumahad Bhuvi. On this earth, what Hanumanji has accomplished, Durlabham, is almost impossible. Manasapi Yajnayena Na Shakyam Dharani Tale. Manasapi, if you can imagine something as difficult, that Hanuman can accomplish. But that which you can't even imagine, that means how far beyond our mental capacity is this work that he has accomplished. Dharani tale na shakyam. Yad anyena. No one else can do it. Only Hanumanji has done it. since we shift from the pastime to little tattva, this is the heart of the Supreme Lord when he looks at his representative, Sri Guru, who somehow, by his speaking, what did Hanuman speak? Ram Katha. But it has to come through the mouth of such a fit representative that when Katha is properly given, it is able to bring about Shanti in everyone's life. The Shanti is the mind, because of all sorts of things being thrown at the living being, is constantly agitated. Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Klesha, karmic pushings, all sorts of things are constantly beating and plundering the living entity within this body. So, what is the hope for Shanti? The only thing people do for Shanti is some sedating or numbing activity. And myself included, we are aware of it. But the real Shanti, our scriptures are showing, is the words of the Guru. And his words are Shivabhir, full of auspiciousness. Abhishta, Arishtabhir. Arishtabhir is auspicious and pure. So, words he speaks are pure. They bring auspiciousness in one's life. And that's the way to become Shanti. And therefore, the Supreme Lord becomes very, very happy. And he's addressing everyone that nobody on this earth is able to accomplish what Hanuman. In fact, it is unimaginable. It is unimaginable that a living entity can become peaceful by hearing Ram Katha. I mean, it is imaginable because we have that experience. But those who don't have it, they can't imagine how that can be. And then he says, Nahitam prapashyami yastena maharnavam anyatra Garuda Vayor anyatra cha Hanumataha. There is nobody who can cross this great ocean except Garuda, Vayu, and this Hanuman. Now, Hanuman is standing right there. He's not speaking to Hanuman, which is something to note. Is very special. And then he says, Deva, Danava, Yaksha, Gandharvanam. None of them has been able to enter the city of Ravana. Now, Hanuman had to jump or leap across the ocean. The Devatas, Gandharvas, Yakshas are flying in the sky, but they don't have the power, the strength, the courage to enter Lanka. But Hanuman did. So, what the demigods cannot do, Hanumanji did. Similarly, what the demigods cannot do is bring peace to the living entity's actual pining from separation from the Supreme Lord. Each one of us, whatever problems we have, big, small, medium, large, extra large, in the immediate context, we may not be able to see it. But if we step back, the grand picture is all our problems is because of separation from the Lord. That's what Prabhupada tells us in Ishopanishad, in the purport of Purnamadah, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vashishyate. This living entity, every emanation is complete, but the sense of incompleteness is because of separation from the Supreme Lord. So even the demigods cannot do what the spiritual master can do, what the spiritual master is empowered to do. He has entered Lanka and he has carried this great task that was assigned by Sugriva. Okay? Now, Ramachandra will describe three types of servants. First, second, and third class or third grade. Here's pay attention and try to soak in with one's own experience or one's own realization or reflection on these three types of servants. First one, he says, Yo hi bhrityo niyuktas sambhrata. I'm sorry, niyukto नियुक्तस संभर्ता कर्मणि दुष्करे कुर्याद अनुरागेण तमाहो पुरुषोत्तमः पुरुष उत्तमः. The best of the servants is one who, when given a task, performs that service with love for his master. Kuryad anuragena. Now, when he's doing it with love, generally a conditioned being performs an activity with love when the activity is something that the servant likes. Please have prasadam. Oh, thank you very much. With full anurag. But suppose I said, clean something, wash something, or some service that we may say, it's not my nature, I don't like it. Why am I being pushed to do this service? I've gone through that for years and years and years. And so when I read these verses, I knew I'm not that Purushottama. But it is Kuryad Anuragena Tam Ahu. It is said, such a person is Purushottama. The best of the servant is one who carries out any service with affection for the master. And because there is affection for the master, even the service is carried out with affection. Next one. Nuyuktoyaha param karyam na kuryan nrupate priyam bhrityo abhritya samarthopi tamahur madhyamam naram. So the second level, or what we are used to hearing, uttama, madhyama, and prakrishta or kanishta. He said a servant is considered madhyama when he does it efficiently. He does it efficiently and takes care of completing it. But you see, there is no anuraga necessarily. It's in the activity. Here the mind and the heart is involved. Here the activity is done very well. Then he says third one. Niyukta nirpate karyam na kuryad adya samahitaha bhrityo yukta samarthascha tamahum purusha adhama. If a person is capable and has the weight and is skillful in getting something done, but fails to do it, such a person is called adhama, the third class. So here they carry out efficiently, but their heart may or may not be involved. The first one is where the heart is involved. Obviously, it's more difficult. Ramachandra is a person who's always looking for essence. That's the nature of the Lord. He is called Saragrahi. He doesn't look necessarily at the action. He looks at the heart. So the difference between, let's say, living entities and the Supreme Lord is, we all, I'm using the word we, but forgive me, I'm only using it as a general sense. We all look at a person's actions and words and evaluate suitability or not, because we don't have the capacity to peek into their intention. So we miss intention and we only see action. The Supreme Lord is one who ignores necessarily the action or the words, but he captures the heart, the essence of it. Is the heart there or not? That's most important. that in a service, in a relationship with the Lord, the heart needs to play the biggest role, the majority role. The other things are possibly things that the Lord discounts. Meaning, if we do something with good intention, but we do it wrongly, the Lord considers the intention and not so much the activity. If we do something right, but don't have so much of the intention, but the Lord is very kind, He will still accept the activity, although He knows that the intention is not so good. Because the nature of the Lord is always to look for good. Always. In fact, He sees so much good that people outside might wonder, what is so good? Because our tendency generally is to look for not so good. Very quickly, we resonate with something that is not good. The Lord is not like that. The Lord is eagerly searching. Okay, is the heart good or not? Okay, not good. But is the activity okay? Yeah, okay. Maybe the activity is not good. At least did he or she say something nice? Yeah, okay. So I'll take that and I'll consider. Very well done. If he can look at always searching for the slightest good, what to speak of someone like Hanumanji in this verse where he says, Yohi bhrityo niyukta san bharta karmani dushkare kuryad anuragena tam ahu purushottama. The actual Purushottama is the Supreme Lord. But in this context, the word Purushottama is among these men, this person is considered the best. One, this servant, Bhritya. We get the name Bhritya because Sri Ramachandra is our Bharta. He is our husband. One who is maintained is called Bharya. And one who serves the Bharta is called Bhritya. And our goal is to become Bhrityasya Bhritya. And that's what Ramachandra has already said earlier, because he carried out the duty given by Sugriva in Mukundamala Stotra. King Kulashekara recites this beautiful verse. Mad janmana phalamidam madhukaita bharehe. Mad prarthaniya mad anugraha esha eva. Tvad bhritya bhrityasya bhritya bhrityasya bhritya mam smaralokanatha. Paricharaka bhrityasya. So you have a paricharaka, you have a servant. And that servant has another servant, bhritya. And then there is another servant, bhritya. And there is, so 5, 6 levels later, the 7th one in the line is me. And the commentators on this verse say, when you give a list of 6 like this, bhritya, bhrityascha, paricharaka, bhritya, bhrityascha, bhritya, you shouldn't count as 6, you should count as unending line. And I'm a servant of that last servant. This is Kulashekara's prayer, that he becomes very glorified because he's asking that, oh, Supreme Lord, who's the Lord? The one who killed Madhu and Kaitava. Mad janmana phalam. My life will become successful, would be considered, it has reached its fruition. Mad janmana phalam madhu kaitavare. Mad prarthaniya. It's my earnest prayer. Mad anugraha esha, and it will be your greatest benediction upon me if you consider me the servant of 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 your servants. And this verse is full of this kuryad anuragena. Without love, you cannot expect to be back in the line like that. And not only has made me happy, but has made Sugriva also happy. Oh, now he responds to Hanuman. Hanuman, aham cha raghuvamsham cha Lakshmanascha Mahabalaha Vaidehya Darshanenadya Dharmataha Parirakshita. You have rightfully protected the entire Raghuvamsham by Vaidehya Darshanad. Just by finding Sita Devi, Lakshmana, myself were part of this Raghu Vamsha, this fantastic dynasty of Raghu. It has been protected or saved by you. Because nowhere in the history of the entire Raghu Vamsha has ever been a situation where the queen was lost. So by bringing this news to me, you're making it possible that I can bring back my queen, and by which I will protect and save and bring back the glory of the Raghuvamsha. That's the activity he has performed. That's how Ramachandra sees it. While that is happening, Hanuman, I feel like I should give you something, but I have nothing to give you. Now, this is very hard rending, so we'll take. Idam tu mama deenasya mano bhuyah prakarshati. Manah prakarshati. My mind is in complete distress. Where do we hear manah prakarshati? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, where Krishna says, Mamayvamshah jivaloke. Jiva bhuta sanatanaha manah sashtanindriyani prakritim sthani karshati. Mind, along with the senses, together, a composite of 6, situated in matter, prakarshati, becomes very, very agitated. So he says, Mano bhuyah prakarshati. My mind is again and again in severe distress. What is that distress? Yadihasya priyakyartun kurmi sadrusham priyam. Priyakhyat Priyakyatur na kurmi. You have given me the most pleasing news. Na kurmi, but I cannot do anything, sadrusham priyam. I cannot do anything equally pleasing for you. I feel helpless. This is the only point that we should remember again and again. That when a devotee offers service with love, it defeats the Lord. He doesn't know how to reciprocate. Anything else he can give. He wants to give kingdoms. Sugriva wanted a kingdom. He actually wanted his wife back and the kingdom. Sugriva, take the entire Kishkinda kingdom, no problem. Angada was made the crown prince just because he was Vali's son, and Vali, at the end of his life, made a request. Vibhishana was given the entire Lanka. Even before they went to Lanka, Ramachandra will now order, Vibhishana, you get the entire Lanka. And if Ravana comes and says, I am sorry, here is Sita Devi back, I will restore him back as the king of Lanka. Even the demigods will worship him. So the devotees have a question. Oh, you said you're going to say that you will give Vibhishana Lanka, and Ravana, if he says sorry, you will also give him Lanka. Then how can you fulfill this promise to Vibhishana? This is a doubt Acharyas bring up. And Ramachandra says, no problem. I will give Vibhishana Ayodhya. Can give anything. To Sharabhanga, to Sutikshana, to Jatayu, he said, go back to the spiritual world. But to Hanuman, Yadihasya priyakyatum na kurmi sadrusham priyam. I am not able to reciprocate with you. What to do? I have nothing to give. I have nothing to give you. Because your service is so supreme, I can't reciprocate. Now, from a situational perspective, he has nothing. He's not the king. He's wearing jute garments, deer skin, hair is matted. He's not wearing any jewelry. That one ring that was Sita Devi's, it went away with Hanumanji. He literally has nothing to give him. But he has something that is the charm of and a highlight of every devotee. But someday, maybe. So Ramachandra says, Esha sarva bhute parishwango hanumataha maya kalamimam prapya dattastasya mahatmanaha. Somebody who has given me such great happiness. To them, I give my embrace. And Ramachandra tightly embraces Hanumanji. Oh, I mean, can someone imagine? Let's look from Hanumanji's perspective. What does Hanuman consider himself? As a insignificant Vanara. How can Vanaras, first of all, make friendship with royalty? Sri Ramachandra. And not only royalty, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Hanuman recognized in the very first meeting. Monkeys are not sophisticated. They have nothing. He just performs some service. And to which Ramachandra gives a tight embrace. Oh, unbelievable. Esha sarvabhute parishwango hanumata. Sarvabhut, this is everything that I have. Now, what is special? The Acharyas give us the hidden meaning. This is the same form and body that was embraced by Sita Devi back in Janasthan. After killing Kharadushna, Trishiras and 14,000 demons, he comes and stands at the entrance of the cave and she runs out and embraces him tightly. That body, which was embraced by Sita Devi, is now embracing Hanumanji. What is so special about Sri Ramachandra? That he took the step forward to embrace Hanumanji. And what is Ramachandra's form? When Sita Devi asked, speak up to me about Sri Ramachandra, Hanuman said, Ramaha Kamalapatraksha Sarvasattva Manohara Rupa Dakshinya Sampanno Prasuto Janakatmaje. We went in detail with this verse. Just by saying Ramaha, it means he is the standing embodiment of pleasure and love. Everyone else carries love in them. He is love. Rama, pleasure, joy, ecstasy. That's the meaning of the word Ram. Rama, Kamalapatraksha. And anyone who looks at Rama, any part of his body is so fully saturated with love that they have no interest in looking at any other body part. And Sarva Sattva Manohara. Sattva means every living being, anything that is alive. In fact, Ramachandra is such that even that which was not alive also became agitated by love. The rivers became heated. The fast flowing rivers did not have any flow in them. They became stagnant. The trees became dry. The flowers got wilted. The birds stopped cooing. They just fell off the tree branches as Ramachandra is walking out of Ayodhya. And we will hear when Ramachandra enters Ayodhya back, what happens to all the trees, birds, animals. What to speak of them? The Sarva Sattva Manoharaha completely captivates their minds. And it's not that he did something to become like that. Rupa Dakshinya Sampanna Prasutaha. This is how he was born. He appeared with all of these qualities. Rupa Dakshinya. Very handsome, but also very kind hearted. And that self same Sri Ramachandra on his own embraces Hanuman tightly and says, "This is all that I have for you. Can anyone want anything else after this?" Just the sight of Lord Prishni Garbha for Dhruva Maharaj, he couldn't speak. So the Lord touched his head with his conch, so Dhruva's head with his conch. And Prabhupada quotes this verse. He says, "Ask what you want. I don't want anything. Just looking at you, varam na yache. I do not have any favor to ask. Just the sight of it. To speak of embrace." So saying this, Ramachandra embraced Hanuman. Now, after this, Ramachandra turns to Sugriva, and all the monkeys are still listening intently because they have never seen something like this. The Raghu Kula Tilaka, the shining, crowning glory of the Raghu Vamsha, embracing one of us. Hanuman is one of us, one of ours. And he says to Sugriva, "Very, very well done that you and your team have found Sita Devi. But Sugriva, now that I know about Sita Devi, that she's alive, my mind is completely tormented again. Sarvata Sukrutam Tavat Sitaya Parimargamam Sagaram tu Samasadya Puna Nashta Mano Manaha. Puna Nashta Mano. My mind is completely destroyed or lost again. What is the loss? There is a massive ocean separating me from Sita Devi. In the Ramayana, I came across this verse in Kanda, I think. Ramachandra is considering, Jatayu has been killed. This is Kanda. Jatayu has been killed. Ramachandra has performed the final rites for Jatayu. And he considers Rajyat Bhramsha. My entire kingdom was lost, or I have been kicked out of my home. So I don't have home, I don't have my relatives, I don't have my friends. I am completely far away from Ayodhya. Rajya Bhramsha. Sita Nashto. Even Sita Devi, the one consort that I have, also taken away from me. It's not like I have many other consorts. One Sita that I love very much, taken away. Okay. I have no home. I made friends. Jatayu was there. Hato Jatayu. Even this Jatayu has been killed. And the kind of alakshmi means the kind of misfortune. Lakshmi is fortune, alakshmi is misfortune. The kind of misfortune that is tormenting me is so intense. Nirdahet api pavaka. That the heat of my misfortune is so intense that it can burn fire. Can anything burn fire? Fire is the source of any burning and heat. But Ramachandra is making this analogy so we can get a glimpse. Nirdahet api pavaka. Nirdahet api pavaka. That my tormenting is so intense that even fire, it will burn away. It will burn fire. And that's exactly what's coming up here. He says, Katham nama samudrasya dushparasya maham bhasa. This massive body of water, Katham nama means how is it at all possible? Harayo dakshinam param gamishyanti samagataha. How will all of us get to that side of the ocean? I know my objective is there. I want to get there. And how am I going to? I see many obstacles in between. As a sadhaka, I see Shuddha Nama there. I see Prema Bhakti there. But in between is a massive ocean of anarthas for me. How am I going to get there? I become hopeless. I may become completely devastated that, hey, it's not going to happen. I may give up. At that time, we need good friends who can encourage us, give us some hope in the heart to get to the other side of this ocean of difficulties. Let me pause here. We've only covered 17 verses in the first chapter. Let me see if you have any comments, reflections, thoughts. We'll take it from there.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Oh.
I just wanted to say that Guru Maharaj already mentioned in Haridwar, and in Haridwar, you already mentioned that you will be coming for the Sri Lanka Yatra, and there'll be 60 part Sundarakanda classes, and I just wanted to say that hearing this morning's just filled with relationship, rasa, mellows kind of narration. I'm just so excited for that. Thank you.
No, thank you. Is Valmiki's given us a mango-like fruit that has no skin and only juice. So how are we to hold it? Tasting is one thing. How are we to hold it? This is too much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm praying. I'm praying I can make it to. I mean, who prays that I'll be making it to Sri Lanka? But praying to go to Sri Lanka if possible. Let's see.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hey,
accept my
wow, the guy got
obeisances.
the power couple today. Wow. Please accept mine too.
I don't want power couple, foolish couple. Well, I can speak about myself. I don't get in trouble. She's cooking lunch for us.
Yeah.
I was curious, the 3 levels of servants, very nicely explained and presented by Valmiki. I wanted to understand, it seemed like there's also shades in between.
Sure.
And the word anuraga captured my attention. And I'm curious if you had any comments on the choice of word and the etymology of the word itself, like anu and raga. Often we hear Prabhupada would split anu from whatever else it would be prefacing. So is there any sort of dimensions to that word that give us a little more insight into the affection that's being discussed when offering service?
Raga, thanks to Vedanta Deshika's Paduka Sahasram, Raga is rubies, the color red, love, or attachment and affection. So the color of love is red. This reddishness is that there is intensity. It's very thick. Rubies are called Padmaragas because they're reddish in color. The Anuraga is not, it means that it is a flow. It's not a point in time. I have a burst of some affection and then it diminishes. And then some months later or sometime later, there's again a burst. Anuraga is always like it's a continuous, that the sense of love or connection with the Lord is flowing. It's continuous. Now, our spiritual master uses the phrase anishtita. It's on and off, on and off. More in reality, if I consider myself, it is mostly off, and once in a while a little, flicker. But what to speak of that which is always on? When you see him and some devotees of his caliber, it's always on. And so their words, their behaviors, their inner movements are all on that basis, not something they have to think about. That's called raga bhakti. It's spontaneous. We use the word spontaneous. It's not something that intellectually has to be thought about. Interestingly, yesterday in the Srimad Bhagavatam reading of Canto 9, chapter 11, Sri Ramachandra is Shukadev Goswami is narrating to Parikshit Maharaj how Ramachandra is feeling when Sita was kidnapped. And he says, Ramachandra is saying that even with intelligence, I'm not able to curb the sadness or the pain of separation, because intelligence generally is the voice of reason, the side that makes things rational, right? And that's what we have to bring into life. We when there are emotions are high, we put a little flavoring of reason, rationality, and try to get sense of things. Sometimes when the reason is so strong, we need a little dose of softness and emotion, so that both are there. But Ramachandra is saying that even with intelligence, I'm not able to curb this pain of suffering. So this raga, and before that, what we do as sadhana is this intelligence plays a big role. This is the Supreme Lord. I should offer my obeisances. I must get up. Oh, in this situation, if someone's appreciating me, I should say something out of humility because that's the right thing. But you take great persons. It doesn't matter what situation they're in, they're never caught off guard. Whatever it is, it'll come out as some expression of love for the Lord. So it is anuraga. And so Rupa Goswami uses the word raga anuga. Raga anuga, that which is constantly following someone who has raga bhakti. Raga anuga, it is a spontaneous is the phrase we are used to. It's there, it's who they are. So in that sense, Purusha Uttama. I hope that is satisfying for you.
That was deep and very contemplate that. Thank you.
Valmiki's grace. Shukadev Goswami somehow brought it out yesterday. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
No. Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble message.
Please accept. Fine.
Thank you for the wonderful class. Just one question. Why, when Lord Ramchandra was addressing, he was not directly addressing to Hanuman, and he was addressing to the rest of the monkeys?
So glorification of Hanumanji. When you appreciate someone and you just appreciate to them is one level of appreciation. When you appreciate to the entire sabha is something else. For example, when we have a guest in our congregation or you're at a meeting, they're sitting there and someone else either introduces them or speaks about them. It's not like they're looking, they say such and such is, and then the whole sabha, the congregation, the persons there, they hear the glorification. Well, that's what Ramachandra is addressing the entire sabha. That what
Thank you,
he has
Prabhu.
accomplished is fantastic. And therefore, the reference of Uttama Bhritya comes right after this, is because he's telling everyone what kind of a servant Hanumanji is. I mean, just to make fun of it, imagine if Ramchandra put a hand on Hanuman or told him, sort of side mein aao, and just between both of them, thank you, such wonderful service you've done. And they come back into the gathering, it has no effect.
Thank you, Prabhu. And another wonderful perspective, as Lord Ramchandra has brought forth here, that the Raghuvansha will continue because of this deed of Hanuman. So that's wonderful, actually, because everybody will follow the lead of the elder brother. Other brothers will follow the lead of elder brother. So if Sita Devi is not there, then Raghuvansha won't continue. So that's wonderful perspective. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble
Hey,
obeisances.
Hare Krishna, Paramankar Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, when you say that, when you use this statement that Lord Ramchandra got an anxiety after praising Hanuman, he told Sugriva that your team accomplished the goal of finding Sita, but I have more anxiety because and you compare that with a sadhaka, with the level of prema that, okay, we are doing our service, we're doing our sadhana, and still we have a long goal, prema. Now, is this something that Lord Ramchandra is helping us to understand that? What is the significance of this statement? Because you made it, or it's just it's Lord Ramchandra's indication that, hey,
no,
this
I
is
made it. I made it because one may say he's the Supreme Lord. Why does he need the ocean? Because he's going to show us in a few chapters by glancing at the ocean angrily, or as Bhagavatam says, by shooting an arrow, the entire ocean got boiled. The sharks and whales became agitated, and Samudradev had to come. For such a person, why does he have to feel any agitation or restlessness? Because Ramachandra is always looking at or behaving as a ordinary human being. He calls himself, oh no, I am I'm a human being. In that context, because the verse is beautiful, I added my own spice of it, that one may think that the objective is far away, formidable, unattainable. But from point to point, we need people who will help us at least take the next step. We may not be able to get there, but the next step, because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. One step, then another step, then another step. Sometimes we'll look at how far, like, oh my gosh, I don't think. Then we focus on the next step. Just the next step is what we focus on. So that was my added commentary, if it will.
Sure. And my
all.
next question, yes, sir. Yes, Prabhu.
That's it.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. I got it. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So I asked this question, not question, doubt, multiple times, maybe multiple times. Does it require to analyze the steps, or just keep uh, uh, because when you look at the goal, the present become more well. There is, first of all, I feel, and you can correct me, there's why we just keep looking at the goals. If we don't reach the goal, who cares? But what is present with us, that's more important than looking at goal. Is it a correct way of thinking, or we require someone to guide every step? Oh, prema is a goal, you are here now, please go one step more, please go one step more. That's like artificial pushing.
You're a book distributor. Thank you for that wonderful service that you do. Where are you going next?
I don't want to go next.
You don't want to go anywhere?
No, I'm happy.
Okay. All right. You're not going to go for a book distribution event?
Oh, I'm going to go for book distribution.
Where are you
Not
going
more
to
than
go?
that. Okay. Missouri State, Springfield.
Okay, Missouri State, Springfield. Are you going to just sit in your car and drive and hope you'll reach Missouri State? Or do you have a GPS that will tell you so many hours, this is the route you're going to take?
Sure. We have a
Right,
GPS, Prabhu.
correct. So you have a goal. You'll put it on your GPS. I need to reach there. And once you set that on your GPS, you will keep driving. And while you're driving, you're hearing katha and reciting whatever prayers and all that. And once in a while, you'll keep looking at the map to make sure that you are on the highway that you need to be on. But it's not like you're sitting in the car and you're staring at your GPS only to make sure that. So there's a goal, you have a general idea, and then you focus on your next mile, next 2 miles, whatever, keep going. But you never lose sight of the goal. You never
Mhm.
lose sight of the goal. Because if you lose sight of the goal, the map may be saying, take this exit. But if you lose sight of the goal, it won't get you to your destination. Or if you accidentally take an exit. So there is a general idea. That's the goal I want to go to. Along the way, I do things that will ultimately help me to get there.
Well,
I'll
thank
take
you.
an
Yeah.
exit, fill up some gas, I'll, eat something, take a break, take a nap, whatever. But it's all with that I need to reach Missouri State. Otherwise, we'll reach a misery state, state of misery.
Okay. Well, it's greatly explained, but still I have a lot of questions, but I'll not put more.
Oh, yeah,
Anyways,
sure, sure. You're kind to me.
thank you.
That's
No. You're kind to. Thank. It's a great explanation, Prabhu. It makes so sense that the goal should be there behind. We may not know the goal, but goal is there. But it might get subdued or it might get covered with the services, but goal is there, and we may not know that. So it makes sense, Prabhu.
yeah. And I was
Thank
thinking
you.
about Yamuna Jeevan and Shradhika, and I said misery state, and she texted, "Oh, we're in misery. I am also in misery state. I'm although living in some other state, I was in misery state." Anyone else, or we're going to end soon? Okay.
Hare Krishna,
All
Prabhu.
righty. Oh, yes.
Just wanted to add to this discussion. I think it was spoken by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur that on every Ekadashi, we should try to see how we are aligned to our goal and how do the assessment kind of
Oh,
frequency. He gave some guidelines to do
oh,
assessment how we are aligned to the goal. Just wanted to bring that.
no. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you, Prabhu.
sharing that.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Prabhu, if there is time, I just
Yeah.
wanted to get your further thoughts on something that touched me and really has my wheels churning. You were mentioning about intention and impact, basically, right? So Krishna just sees the intention, and even if there is some shortcoming in the impact, he's just so very kind. And I was thinking, within the community of devotees, we know somebody's impact on us, but we don't know their intention. And similarly, people see the impact we're having on them, but they don't know our intention. And it's there's so much care and sensitivity needed in navigating impacts. So being in the association of devotees, we actually pay attention both to impact and intention. We're being trained to do that. Whereas, ultimately in Krishna's books, he's just so pleased if the intention is in the right place. I was just wondering if you have any thoughts to share. I was almost thinking like being in the devotee community doesn't prepare us for, the real thing. But
Well, let's start with Jatayu. Jatayu miserably failed in his attempt to save Sita Devi. I say miserably failed because he got killed by Ravana. His wings and feet were cut off. He was sitting there bleeding and holding on to his breath so he can convey the message to Sri Ramachandra. The impact, one can say, was little, in the sense, although he clawed on Ravana and pecked him with his beak and broke his chariot's flag and all that. Ultimately, he couldn't. So the impact is not there. But that is the Jatayu that Sri Ramachandra embraced. Ramachandra's body is soaked in blood. Performed his final rites. I mean, nobody does final rites for a bird. Nobody. Then what to speak of a vulture? And then told him, Gachalokan Anuttamam. Just go to that planet of where all the liberated beings are. A human being cannot give liberation to anyone. Ramachandra broke character there and sent Jatayu. This is where he knows the heart of Jatayu. He saw that the intention was complete, but the impact wasn't there. Sudama. Sudama's name in Sanskrit sometimes, or in South India, he's called Kuchela. Chela is cloth. Kuchela means, you remember Maharaj says, Sudama's clothes had so many holes and more knots because everything was knotty. He was so poor. What did he bring Krishna? Had 2 fistfuls of broken or chipped rice that no one will touch. That's what Krishna eagerly grabbed and ate. So the intention is what the heart is always the hidden one, and hard to get to people's intention. It's only interpretation. And being in the association of the Supreme Lord and the great personalities, we try and see to whatever degree possible, or learn and read intention. It's hard. So in the association of devotees, most of the time, the argument is on the act, and perhaps fewer or less is the trying to understand the intention. So to know the other person's intention is important. What is it? And you and I are familiar with the language, and you use it more. What's the need? What's the feelings? Where are they coming from? That may have this behavior, but behind that behavior is something else. And if we can't read it, I mean, we're tiny living beings, we can't read it. We hope to encourage them. We create an environment where they can speak the real intention. And we receive that. Until that happens, then there's the connections are not so strong, or there's room for stronger connections. That's what I have to offer today.
Thank you.
You know this already. But Jatayu is such an amazing example. In the Bhagavatam, Arjuna, after fighting and defeating the entire Kaurava army, loses a stick fight with the Yadavas. And he thinks, I thought this strength was mine. So he gets a very sobering lesson, because that intention is, I am powerful Kshatriya. One is only powerful or impactful or anything because it is Krishna's grace. Krishna, was it? Vihina, Krishna Shakti Vihina. Without Krishna's grace, without Krishna's strength, one can't do anything. So we are thinking each time, right? Krishna's grace, Sri Ramachandra's grace, that I could accomplish something. But when one forgets, then the intentions get all muddled and mixed. And naturally, the impact also gets something else, becomes something else. That's a few weeks ago, a different group, I had raised this question. If I peel a potato or cut a potato in the temple kitchen, is that service? And obviously we had mixed answer, yes. Some said, not sure. And the answer is, like Maharaj says, it depends. It depends on whether when I'm peeling or cutting a potato, I'm just using that as an example, whether my service mindedness is active or not. Otherwise, it's an activity within the confines of a temple. So it is nearer the boundary, it is warm around the service mindedness, it's warm, but may not be. Okay, Shri Radhika, you have something to respond back on that?
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. We went further than you were, say 8 minutes further, but I missed all your associations, so I'm greedy to hold you back. But I know we all have lives. Thank you.